I'm towards the end of working on my PhD, and I've been in my career for a long time, and so I knew that I had some sort of vision. I didn't want to finish my degree and stick my head out of the sand and wonder what was next. So I thought that the timing was right to start planning. I had some ideas of what I want to do, but I actually didn't know how to access them. So I thought that this might be the right moment to seek out coaching. I've never worked with a coach, and for me it's really tricky because relationship is so important to me. So I've always been really hesitant to find a coach because I knew that for me I needed to connect on a really deep level. So I'll say that Brenda's Instagram posts really helped because I started to resonate with what was being said in the posts and started to really think about that, and it was connecting with me on a personal level, so that helped me to start connecting. It's interesting to think back because I've been a thought leader in my area of expertise in education and design for a long time, and I knew that I wanted to work in a space that was different, but I actually didn't know what that space was. I just knew it needed to be something different than the education system, how we know it. I also started to think that the leadership and the skills and expertise that I have would actually also have a place outside of education. But again, I didn't know how to get there. So that's where I figured that I needed support, was to realize maybe some tools, maybe some tricks, maybe a different vision or a different understanding of myself to get there. The first few months that we started the work together, learning to care for myself and understand myself across all facets of my life, was the most surprising thing to me, because what I've learned is that when I practice self-compassion and care for myself on really deep levels, personally, professionally, emotionally, physically, my work is actually a lot more productive, I'm a lot more inspired, and I also enter into my work feeling a really calm and confident energy that I have no doubt that things will get done, but I'm working differently. Yeah, I think a great example is I just recently finished writing an article for publication, and I've been thinking about what I need to write for quite some time, but I hadn't taken the time to really sit down and focus and get into the mechanics of writing, and so I had a conversation with myself a few days before the deadline, because I was nowhere near being finished. And I started thinking about, is this something that I really want to accomplish by this deadline? Is this important to my purpose and my vision and the goals that I have for myself? And if it is, then I need to make an action plan. But I need to be gentle with myself about it. So this is all learning for me, that the way that I approach that. So I didn't carry any stress about it, but I really kind of sat down and had this strategy meeting with myself. So I decided it was worth it, that it really feeds into what I need to do, and then I really just confidently decided that it would come together, and so I just moved through the next few days of I didn't, burn the midnight oil and stay up late writing. I cared for myself, I still exercised, but I was able to get it done calmly, and I'm really proud of it. So that's new to me to work through, and so I think part of that is letting go of the things that don't serve us and being conscious of that. So I really addressed that. Was this something that is going to help me? And when I decided yes, then I came up with that action plan. The most important thing is multiple times a day, I make sure to acknowledge that I'm really proud of my efforts and what I'm doing, and that I'm a good person, and that I actually love myself. And so I think that it can sound, kind of silly, but I think this self-compassion of actually telling ourselves and treating myself as my best friend would treat me has been really helpful. And so making that as part of a practice instead of why can't you do this? You need to get this done, you need to focus, you need to, so I find that self-compassion as a practice is, it just helps me, I don't know, it helps me, I find it helps me with everything. When I think of myself before I started coaching, I'll say I've always been a heart-centered leader. I'm kind of rooted in creativity, and so I know that when I have the space and the time to sink into that creative process, I know that I can get to really interesting places. But the biggest value to me is that acknowledging, of course, that there's things that I don't know. And that there are experts who can help and support. And so when I was trying to think about what this vision would be like coming out of my PhD, I started to think about that's when I'll say the limiting beliefs came up, because it's like, well, you're in education, therefore you must be in the classroom or be a teacher or do it within the realm of what people understand. But I really think that there's something different. So the biggest value is letting go of those limiting beliefs. And understanding that setting goals can help me get to places that I know exist, but I don't know how to get there. So that's helpful. And then the other is understanding myself as a human until I'm 100. And so setting a purpose and vision and goals that actually have nothing to do with a career until retirement. But beyond that, I think it's really inspiring, but it's also grounding at the same time. And it thinks, well, yeah, I've got this. And if I'm true to myself and I set goals that are in line with who I am and who I am as a human and how I want people to perceive me, then I think that I can see this energy building instead of feeling like I'm tiring out. I actually feel really excited about the next 50 years. So I actually think everyone would benefit, because here's the thing. In our society, we're taught to pick yourself up. You got this. Read a couple books, go to a workshop, and you got this. And if you don't, then what's wrong with you? So I think that anybody who is complacent, I shouldn't say anyone who's complacent. I think it's when you are stuck and feeling like you maybe are complacent but you don't want to be, or if you want something different in your life but you don't know how to get it. Mm-hmm. I think that that's a beautiful opening for coaching. It's really enlightening to be involved in this process and to adopt it as a practice for my life and how I want to be in the world, how I want to show up, how I want to behave around other people, and really how I want people to behave towards me. That's the other thing, is about huge learning around boundaries and setting boundaries, and that's part of understanding myself. But learning about the boundary shield and understanding where people fit in my life, and that I actually have control over who is close to me and how that works. And so that's been really empowering.